Hello, I'm Kathy Talbot.
And I'm Dan Gemus. We're sales representatives with Remax Preferred Realty and the Dan Gemus Real Estate team. We're here today with Lady Laforette. She is the Executive Director of the Welcome Center here in Windsor. How are you, Lady?
Good.
Thank you for having us today.
Thank you for coming out.
Give us a little bit of background on what you do here.
Well, the Welcome Center is Windsor-Essex County's only emergency shelter for women who are experiencing homelessness for any reason. So in practice, what that looks like is about 400 women a year who intake into our emergency shelter program to get shelter and basic needs while they're looking for more permanent housing.
Really?
Wow, that's pretty fast. So 400 women a year. So tell us then a bit of the background. So typically you're seeing what type of incident coming in?
Well, we find that it varies across age greatly. We have clients that range anywhere from 16 to 18 years old up to into their 90s. We're seeing a lot of family breakdown, relationship breakdown, evictions, and unsafe housing seem to be a growing concern here. And with sort of the economic ups and downs, we're seeing a lot more women who were living paycheck to paycheck, and it doesn't take very long before you get behind on that. And one thing snowballs into another, and it may result in an eviction.
So how do people, not the phone number or anything like that, but are you open all day, all night, all weekends, everything?
We are 24/7, 365. Unfortunately, homelessness doesn't take weekends off. So we are open 24 hours, which would be for intakes, calls for information, that could be for donations. We found that the majority of our intakes tend to come in during the day or into the early evening, but we do have 24 hours staff support for the women.
So lady, you do have beds here on site. Can you tell us a bit about that and about the average stay? How long does a typical person stay in the center here?
Well, we do have beds on site. We have 12 beds available for women. We do have one bed on our main floor that's accessible if need be. We find that our average stay, if you look at the stats, ends up on paper being about 8 nights. That sort of counts for your outliers who might stay for a night or two, and then the ones whose needs might be a little more specific and complex, and then they end up staying a bit longer. Normally our stays would range anywhere from 14 days up until about 28 days.
Wow. So that would include obviously their food, they're eating here,
all basic
right?
needs. Yeah.
Everything.
That covers food, laundry, 24-hour staffing. We cover all meals. One of the things that we do cover as well as with our staffing, we do have a social worker who's on, and she's available Monday to Friday, 8 till 4. She'll be the one who'll sit down with each individual client and assess sort of what their needs are, what they identify their needs to be, and what resources they're looking for, what community agencies they'd like to connect with, and making sure that they get those connections while they're in the shelter.
And we'll definitely also put the information on how you can help at the end of the video, so you can look forward to that as well. Lady, you also have a food bank here on site. Can you tell us a bit about that and its inner workings?
Yes, we have an emergency food bank. The food bank actually predates the shelter program. And our food bank is specifically geared again towards women. So it's geared towards women and children, sole support mothers, and who live west of Crawford. So that's our catchment area, and that extends into the county. So right now we're looking at, on average, about 1,000 families a year who are being serviced through our food bank. When you come to the door, you'll meet with one of our volunteers, and then you sit down and do a brief intake, let us know sort of what your income is at, what the situation is that sort of led you to the food bank, and then once you do that, we provide a 3-day emergency food hamper. And you can use that actually on a monthly basis. There are several different food banks within the Food Bank Association. Everyone has their own catchment areas and timelines. And we've always maintained ours at once a month because we've noticed that the demand has only grown. So we're not seeing any decline in our food bank usage. We're seeing women that require it on a more regular basis. So we've maintained steady at being able to use it once per month.
Okay. Now can we take a look at the food bank?
Yes, you're welcome to come on down.
Why don't we do that? Let's have a look right now.
Sounds good.
So here we are with Lady at the food bank. And perhaps you can tell us when people can come to get some assistance here.
Our food bank is open Mondays and Wednesdays between the hours of noon and 3. We are open every Monday and Wednesday other than a Monday that falls on a holiday.
Okay, and can people offer any kind of food? Like, what about perishables, or is it just non-perishables?
Non-perishables tends to be the majority of what we do get donated, but perishable items definitely are always welcome. We don't get as many of them, and it's nice to have those items to add to a food bank order.
So what would you suggest, like dairy products, eggs, bread even, those kind of things?
Bread, eggs, milk, cheese, meat, if we can get it,
Oh,
is always
okay.
good. We find that a lot of times if we get very low and we only have the non-perishable items, that it gets really hard to provide 3 adequate days worth of meals without providing any fresh items.
How many people do you typically see coming through the food bank on a weekly basis, lady?
I'm not sure about the weekly. In a month, we average anywhere between 80 and 100 families.
Okay,
Really?
that's a decent amount of families. So if somebody wants to help Lady, once again, let's remind the listeners and the watchers what you need the most. I know, oftentimes, like people, we're seeing the shelves right now. We've just finished the holidays, as we're taping this. So the shelves are, they're not packed, but they're decently
fuller.
stocked. Now, as the month goes on, these really start emptying out, and the donations start slowing down. As many people I'm sure know, during the holidays you start getting more donations because people are thinking of donating and giving during the holidays. So as the months go on, what happens?
We dwindle. We find that January, February is usually very well stocked, and then usually it will dwindle until we reach sort of a crisis point, usually in the summer. And the summer is usually a time that the majority of people are not thinking about giving to food banks. Everyone is sort of you're on vacation, you're enjoying the summer, you're enjoying the nice weather.
True.
And giving can kind of fall to the wayside. So we find that we can build up enough at Christmas to last us through the majority of the spring into summer, but we're always looking to make sure that our shelves stay stocked.
Excellent.
Well, Lady, we definitely appreciate all the information you've shared with us here today. And we will have all the information on the following screen once the interview is done. And listen, we want to thank all of you, Kath and I, for joining us on one other segment of In Your Community. And again, we look forward to doing many more with you. And if you have any questions, please make sure you give Lady a call. And they could use all the help that you're willing to offer. And thanks again for watching us, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.